Just, one of those fine lines, one of those blurred lines. What are we, bruh? Oh my goodness. That's Kablunski. But again, it's not over. One of these two have to put their team on their shoulder. And you can see they're running the screen and they're switching back and forth. See, they double by accident, and then Chris Paul passes it to the outside because of where Middleton was. And right there, that's a left hand right here. Left hand hook. Left hand off the backboard. But no, he only trusts his right hand and goes back to it. And bruh. And you can see right there. See, and that's where you can see in situations like that, being more limited, you get exposed in situations like that. And see right here, Ayton running down the hill, you want to meet him chest to chest. You don't let him fake Euro. That's his two moves. That's his two moves, and he just kills you right there. When he's coming downhill, he either fakes the Euro and goes the same way, or he does the Euro, you know what I'm saying? And that's his two transitional moves. And you got to meet him with chest to chest like Blake Griffin was doing, but Ayton doesn't do that. And he already knows blow by, you know why? And he's been killing him. Giannis said, I'm on this. What are we doing? Okay? And look how many rattles. Look how many rattles. Good rebound. Look how many rattles the Suns got. Shoot that. Okay, one more. Shoot that. Okay, one more. Okay, right. Good pass. And honestly, like, you could just see, like, the Suns had opportunities and they just weren't able to capitalize because, again, that's what they say. This league is a make or miss league. Just play up and foul him and stay out. You can see they talk about Giannis, obviously, because he's killing, he's eating. My goodness, and bruh, at the end of the day, you can hate on this. 47, 12, and 5, and elite free throws, elite field goal percentage, which he always does, but the free throws was just what was reckless, man. At the end of the day, it's not ability. That 47 ain't ability, but at the end of the day, he's unstoppable right now. He's unstoppable right now. What are we doing? He's fronting. Good front, Crowder. And then force that. What are we doing? Okay, bruh. Bruh, he's making everything. He's making everything. Everything. That's what he knows. It's my destiny. It's my destiny. Bro, what are we doing? 49, bro. And then look, I don't like the Suns, what they're doing offensively, man. Back screen, see? And then like this is horrendous offense. One more. Okay, you got an open look out of it. See, look, their open opportunities is all rattles. There's a lid on the basket. It's just destiny. It's my destiny. And that's what happens sometimes. You can just tell, man. You can just feel it in the air. We're just all beanie, man. It's all beanie, man. And you already know Middleton. Middleton at the end. Okay, you understand? Kill him. What are you doing? And then, my good. Oh, good pass. That's wide open. Push. You got to score now. Booker, he took her to the basket, boy. And it's a 6-point game, and you know that was our only great look in transition. Well, they had other great looks and they just been missing. And it's midi. It's the midi time. He said, I'm gonna close it out. It's midi time. That's how you. Good defense. Great defense. Great defense, Buck. He's been playing great defense, low key. Low key. People aren't paying attention to his defense. What are we doing? Kill. You gotta kill. They're just switching everything. Kill. If you're going to screen, you got to kill. Look at this reach. Great defense. Drew, fight through the screen. My goodness. Fight through. That's what I might do. And Bridges got an ISO now. Crowder got an ISO now. Look at this. And he obviously got fouled. But the fact that he blew by him, Crowder has been having to ISO in multiple occasions. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what you want. That's what you want if you're the Bucks. But that's not what you want if you're the Suns. They got a foul like that, bro. In the clutch time, do I trust, man? They're going to obviously go to Middleton. That's what they got to do. That's what they got to do. What are we doing here? Show me something, then. It's going to be the Middleton closer. And you see Giannis is doing the handoffs every time it's the clutch time. Oh, that's tough. Boom. My goodness. I could hit B. I got the mid-D. Bro, in the clutch time, do I trust my Middleton has established himself as that guy when it's time? He has done it all playoffs. He's done it all playoffs, and I said it's always going to come down to Middleton and Drew. In the clutch time, do I trust mine? That's what I do, bruh. Boom. You got to make that. You see how Giannis is doing handoffs? That's how he's supposed to play. When it's time to get those guys in rhythm, he's going to be the 5-man, screening and rolling and handing off. That's what he's going to do, being the roll man. And what are we doing here? It comes down to this. See, right here, they couldn't get the inbound in. They had a play, and Crowder leaves his route from the play and comes all the way down to give him an option to inbound. Yeah, and then Crowder's going to get it. And right once he gets, he's going to give it back to Chris Paul and go back down for the down screen. You know what I'm saying? Go back. So he broke his play, went back to the play in, 3 seconds? which obviously you got to love the IQ by Crowder right there. And they're going to set a down screen. Look, and right here you can see it's probably a curl screen, but Drew cheats. Oh, hits him once he rejects the screen, and that's beautiful. And, another rattle. What is that, 4 rattles? Bro, that's when you know it's just, bro, it's right there, man. Right there was everything. Right there was everything, and that's when you know, man, it's just Game Boy, no Nintendo. It's just my destiny. It's my destiny. It just came down to that. And honestly, and then they won, obviously, and they won the ring. And Giannis, man, made history, obviously, with this elite finals. And he did everything, man. And at the end of the day, you gotta love it. Obviously, it's unfortunate for Chris Paul. We'll talk more about that after. But, you know, you got to be happy for Giannis, and you got to rate him at the end of the day. He overcame adversity, overcame the failures, overcame everything, didn't give up, didn't jump ship and take the easy way out. He continuously kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. And you got to love it. You got to rate him, man. Damn. And it's unfortunate, man. I know it's unfortunate for D-Book, but it's only his first playoffs. He has more to come, you know what I'm saying? But Giannis went through all the trials and tribulations, went through everything, and you know what I mean? That's why he deserves to sit there and just ponder. You know what I'm saying? He deserves. Kobe challenged him. He said, yo, can you win MVP? Can you win a ring? And he got both. He got both and added a Defensive Player of the Year, and you got to love it, man. You got to love someone who could just be continuously, has no skill. His mental game was never the issue. Mental game was never the issue, and D-Book obviously is going to get better. He already knows, you know, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. I'm going to be back. But Giannis, man, never gave up. Had the mentality, keep shooting, keep shooting, keep shooting, keep shooting, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. No matter what they say don't do this, don't do that. Keep trying and keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, and you got to love it, man. And it's well-deserved, well-rewarded. That's Game Boy, no Nintendo. Man, that's tough, man. Congratulations to the Bucks. Obviously, I had the Suns in 6, and, you know, a lot of it came down to, especially for the Suns, it came down to those 2 games where one game, which was game 4, it came down to that last possession with Chris Paul making a turnover. I didn't expect that because normally I've been saying the Suns, especially Chris Paul and D-Book, they're the ones who have poise, you know what I'm saying? They're the ones who are the closers. They could put the team on their shoulder. I've been said that. So then you had game 4. It came down to that turnover with Chris Paul. And then you look at it in game 5. It comes down to the turnover on D-Book. And those 2 were literally the plays, the kind of iconic and big moments that kind of changed the whole series. Because if they win both of those games, the Suns win in 5. If they win one of those games, we're going back to, you know, for a game 7 right now on Thursday. But obviously, I didn't expect them to lose both of those games, and I didn't expect those 2 outcomes. Anything could change in the series. And that's a testament to Jrue Holiday's defense, especially in game 5. And that's why he was the missing piece to this puzzle. Jrue Holiday was the missing piece when you look at it. You know, obviously, 2 missing pieces. The Giannis has always been Giannis. Obviously, Giannis has elevated his individual game because he did have, like, the wall people would build. And, like, he just wasn't able to fight through mentally in terms of, because he didn't do nothing differently in terms of ability, right? Obviously, teams didn't do a full wall, but it's harder to do a full wall when you have creators now on the wings, when you have creators now and guys who are more potent catching and shooting. But even then, the wall wasn't necessarily what necessarily stops Giannis. It's more so the mentality. He doesn't fight through in terms of just his ability, lack of ability, right? Lack of ability. His mentality wasn't always fully the issue, but the lack of ability, you know, that the wall now could defeat him. Now that these other little things in these big moments, shrinking the floor, forcing him to ISO, could defeat him. And he lacked the ability, so he's not able to, you know, knock down those shots. Now what they did see, you see down the stretch, times here and there he'll get it. And, you know, because mentally now the pressure isn't on him to kind of go to work. So you could see him kind of just, you know, he'll make the floater or make those 1-2 takes that he'll make in those moments. But what they changed drastically was they went to Middleton. And times before they would go to Middleton in the stretch, down the stretch. But, you know, they kind of just accepted that Giannis doesn't have the ability. He's going to carry in the 3 quarters and majority of the game. And he's going to, you know, get his points, get his whatever. But this steady diet of Middleton and making Giannis be the screener and stuff like that, and Middleton able to pull in the gaps and show his shot creating bag as well as Jrue. It was mainly came down to those 2 in the biggest moments, and Middleton elevating to that closing establishing himself as that closer for the Bucks, establishing himself as I'm that guy in terms of that ability and that closing. That's what took them to a higher status and took them to where they're actually finals bound and they're a championship contender and able to win the ring. And then the last piece was Jrue Holiday defensively on the perimeter, right? Being able to even try and stop Kyrie, being able to, try and guard, you see him guard Booker, guarding Chris Paul, guarding Trae Young, guarding these perimeter guys, and you see him wreaking havoc and getting crucial stops. It might not be the whole game, but just making it tough for them, and then being able to create and ball handle in terms of getting assists, creating his own ISO buckets, even if he shoots atrocious percentages. It's not about the percentages. At this point in the playoffs and going further down, efficiency obviously matters when it's elite, but it's never about the efficiency. It's about the timely buckets. It's about the play style and how you play and just, that dynamic in terms of offensively. And when you look at it from that aspect, Giannis is able to now steadily go to that, I'm going to be the roll man, I'm going to be the screener, I'm going to do handoffs, I'm going to be the 5. And him going to that and Bud actually allowing that, not keeping Lopez out there all the time, was able to enable Jrue Holiday, enable Middleton to being those ball handlers and those shot creators. And that was the missing play style piece that they didn't apply, they didn't go to in other previous years. So when you look at it from that aspect, a lot of things change, and that's why you've seen them go through struggle. That's why I always said that PER, that, regular season type of status and going for this is not necessarily indicative to translate into the playoffs. And you've seen that, and that's why they went through their struggles throughout the year. People are like, oh, they're not the same. I'm like, dog, yes, they're not the same, but they're doing things differently that would actually translate. The key for them was whether they're actually going to translate it to the playoffs or are they going to continuously go back to what their old habits and what they used to do before Jrue was there, which is Giannis 5 out, run downhill type of offense, or, 4 out, 1 in, whatever. He's just running downhill. And they did it at times, and he ate at times, and he would go to it when they would struggle, right? When Middleton or whatever would struggle, but he would go to it. But he kind of, when he goes to it, he breaks his rhythm. But then they change it at the 4th. They break, Middleton and Jrue Holiday's rhythm by him going downhill constantly. But what they did do, which credit to Coach Bud, because again, Coach Bud was in the hot seat, but they went back to, okay, Middleton, now's your time throughout the majority of the 4th, especially when Giannis was out. He starts the 4th being out sometimes, and they go to him, Middleton, go to, Jrue Holiday. They staggered some of the lineups too, because Middleton normally will come down later in the 4th. So they did a lot of minutes, changing up and whatever, and you could see that a lot of little things actually enabled Middleton and went out to a larger scale and just a great closing and great adjusting in terms of just finishing and closing out series and closing out games. They used to be the ones going up 2-0 and losing 4 straight, like you've seen versus Kawhi. They now did it versus the Suns, and it's only credit to, obviously Giannis going through adversity, keep going and keep pushing mentally, even when he's struggling, even when he's missing, even when he's not making his shots, and being able to still, even going down with his injury, hyperextended knee, coming back and fighting through, looking like he wasn't injured at all. Like, all of these things is just recipe for success. And when you see that mental component and that mental, fortitude to being able to fight through, that's the key thing. Fighting through adversity. They had a lot of adversity, even though they did have, it came down to KD's toe on the line. It came down to Kyrie being injured. It did come down to that, honestly, but they still fought through adversity. They still went down 3-2. Fighting through KD, pushing them to the max. They still had to go to overtime. They still had to fight through, KD killing their hearts by forcing it to OT. They still had to fight through some adversity, even within the adversity that, or the luck that they were drawn or that they got, that they were given. They still have to fight through adversity even within that. So that's why I won't even give no asterisk on this ring at all, because the team that you're facing in the finals is they're a well-oiled machine and they're not injured. Obviously, Saric, yes, and Chris Paul somewhat, but for the most part, it's healthy versus healthy. So when you look at it, I'm not going to give no asterisk because I know people are doing that. I'm not going to hinder this Bucks championship at all. I'm going to rate it. If anything, I rate it more so than a lot, right? I'm rated a lot, and it's not where, you have people saying, oh, this ring is better than KD's ring. I'm not even going to go down that road because people always have to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? But when I look at it just from the aspect of Giannis winning, as the main guy, averaging 35 points in the finals. The next man is 11 points under you at 24. Like, that's a drastic difference. Obviously, you still have Drew at 17 points per game and stuff like that, and they had 4 guys in double figures averaging. Lopez with 11 around there or something like that. But when you look at it, it's just, this isn't, I know it's not a super team. Now, again, it has the blueprint of a super team, but it's not a super team. It's a low tier, same model as a super team, but lower tier. So, you know what I mean? And you're not facing another super team. So if they were facing another super team, would they really win? So that's when you get into that type of apply context to both sides of the argument, right? People won't do that. But at the end of the day, they did win a ring without a super team. Obviously, context into a lot of that. But I'm not going to remove and hinder their ring at all. No asterisk, none of that. Because again, most super teams, you have a big three. And it's a supreme superstar big three type of big three. And they didn't have that, but they still had a big three. They had a real big three. They had more so a big three that's similar to, similar to the Spurs big three. They're more so like a Spurs, if you want to look at it. You have Tim Duncan, the superstar. Tony Parker isn't necessarily a superstar, but he's above average. He's a above average all-star, and Ginobili is an all-star. And that's what you have with Giannis is the superstar. You have Chris Middleton, who's more so like a Tony Parker type of caliber type of player. Right? And then you have the Drew Holiday with the Ginobili, right? And people might even say Drew is better than Ginobili. I won't do that. But they're on the same tier. So I would say it's not a super team, but it's a great star-studded team, a big three team, three-headed monster, a Spurs type of dynasty type of team. And that's what you see with the Bucks. They're literally more so. And then you have Coach Bud, who is under the pop tree. So they're more so, they marry each other more so. So, obviously, we don't get into the super team debate. You don't always need a super team to win. You just need a supreme, talented team with above-average role players or great role players and a big three in your own right, especially in this era. That's what you need. That's the blueprint. A dynamic duo doesn't necessarily win unless certain circumstances are at hand. And that's what you saw with, obviously, LeBron and AD in the bubble. But majority of the times, it's a big three that you need. So, when you look at it from that perspective, this ring was telling. This ring was a great ring for Giannis. Now, obviously, out of the past few rings, other than the bubble, out of the past few rings, this was one of the most, you're like, oh, I rate this ring because Giannis had an opportunity to go elsewhere. He did. And he didn't. He stayed home. He stayed where he was, homegrown in Milwaukee, and he fought it through, obviously. And Middleton elevated his game. Other guys elevated their game. I'm not going to go to the point of he's going with cadavers and going with like Fugazi guys, but look at what he did in the finals, man. Anytime you see the discrepancy in points per game like that, that's when you're like, okay, that guy carried. But again, it's not the same as when you see Jordan averaging 40 and Scottie at 20, or Kobe averaging 30 and Gasol at 19, stuff like that. It's not the same discrepancy because even though it is the same discrepancy, those guys were the closers as well. Giannis wasn't the closer, so it was more so like Shaq dominating in the finals and Kobe closing, right? It was more so like that. So that's where you're like, damn, Shaq is dominating. Giannis is dominating. He's just dominant, right? That's where you look at it. But he wasn't the closer. Shaq could dominate, Giannis could dominate, and without that Kobe, without that Middleton, you don't win. As opposed to the Kobe and the MJ, when they're dominating and they're the best number one option on their guy like Booker, right? They're also the closers as well. You get what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that perspective, that was like Kawhi. That's like KD. That's, stuff like that. And when you look at it from that perspective, man, and you look at it, it's just like, even D Wade in his finals, where you see the discrepancy like that, and you're looking at it, it's like, that's where I'm like, okay, Giannis is just dominant like Shaq. That's what it was. And when you look at it from that perspective, man, you have to just tip your hat off to him, tip your hat off to the adversity that he had to fight through. Shaq was in Orlando, went to the finals and didn't win. He had to go to LA. Giannis was in the finals with Milwaukee and won. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it, obviously different circumstances because, Shaq is facing Hakeem in them, right? But at the end of the day, like, this trajectory for Giannis is a great trajectory. Now, will it transpire? Will it continue to keep going? We don't know. Time will only tell. But this is a great trajectory. That signing, that trade for PJ, that trade for Drew were the two biggest trades, the biggest pieces in the puzzle that obviously led to a ring. Now, when you look at it just in hindsight, now that we're in 2020 vision at the end of the road. So, on the flip side for the Suns, it does look like to the naked eye that Chris Paul's window is finished. It does look like it's closed because this was his window. This was his opportunity. Is he ever going to get to the finals again? This, that, and the third. Honestly, I think reverse, because I think that this window was open. Let's say he stays with the Suns, right? I see that the Lakers are trying to pursue him and all that, whatever. But let's say he stays with the Suns, right? To the naked eye, it looks like this window is closing because individually you just look at Chris Paul's age. He's going to probably decline at some point, whatever. And that logic applies that in, rightfully so. But when you look at the context of the team, that would make sense if he's with an older team or when he's with guys who are like, at the back end of their primes, or they're going to start fading and declining as a whole. This is only one part that might decline. But that one part that declines individually in Chris Paul, the Aytons, the Bookers, the Bridges, the Cams, all of these guys are elevating. So that decline could be absolved by the elevation of the others. So this is the perfect team. If anything, you would want an old guy with, which is why you saw, as LeBron declines, AD should rise, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, I think the window just opened for Chris Paul, right? Because when you look at it, it's not a take that most people would think about. But if you just think of the context of the whole team, Book is only 24. He's only going to get better. This was his first playoffs, and the fact that he went to the finals in his first playoffs, that's great experience. That's only going to make him get better. When you look at Ayton was weak in certain moments, was great in certain moments. This is his first playoffs. It's only his year, 3? He's only going to get better. It's only year 3 for him. He's only going to get better. Only going to add more to the post. He's going to know that my left-hand hook was Fugazi. He's going to add that to the repertoire. He's only going to get better. Cam Johnson, only going to get better. Michael Bridges, you saw a lot of midi pull-ups. You saw a lot of ability from him. He's not just a 3-and-D guy. He could do more than that. He might actually be that wing creator now that you could actually go to him for ISOs in the post, maybe. You might elevate. You got guys, campaign, might elevate, more poise. I'm going to do more pull-ups in the midi. I'm going to apply the Chris Paul bag more, give more Chris Paul more rest, more poise. This is going to be more elevation. D-Book, going to have more poise. Let me go to the post more. He could have posted up Drew Holiday bare times. He didn't. Only did it in kind of like forced moments. They're going to add more things. Okay, this pick and roll offense that we're pick and roll centric that we use all the time, it works. But at certain moments, let's run actions for D-Book posts, low posts. Let's run actions for Ayton posts. Let's run these ISO posts up or ISO plays for these guys instead of running pick and roll. It doesn't work. Now we ISO in a helter-skelter back end of the clock situation. That's something that they were forced to. And I always said in the finals, you see it a lot, even with Golden State. That ball movement, that predictable offense you normally run, you're going to be tested to have to force to go to ISO. And you're going to need those guys to be those guys. And D-Book and Chris Paul weren't being those guys in the ISO, and they weren't doing it when it came down to it. And that was me. I didn't expect that, but it was more so you could see if something was in their head that they refrained from doing it. Because in earlier games, you've seen D-Book go to ISO bare times. But it's like someone told them, maybe Monty, maybe the coaching staff told them, continue the ball movement, try the ball movement, and then they were forced to ISO with 5 seconds. And it's like they weren't even looking for the ISO when they had it. And you could see that. So, a lot of, learning points, a lot of learning, type of things you could adjust and just integrate into your game, teachable moments for the Suns. And I think that they're only going to increase. They're only going to improve when you look at it from that perspective. I don't think that their window is closed. I think that they just busted it open. And I think that window that was slightly creaked, they now lifted it. We don't need no AC. Open the window, fam. There is a breeze outside. That's what they doing. So, I got to see that. And I could see that with my eyes. That's how I'm just looking at it. I may be wrong. Time will only tell. But that's kind of what I saw. And that's what I thought. And what I think, you're only going to get better if you go to the finals in your first playoffs. All of them is their first playoffs, not just one guy. Except for Jay Crowder and Chris Paul. All of them is their first playoffs. So, they're only going to improve. They're only going to get better. So, obviously I'm looking forward to seeing that. D-Book, the monster you see from D-Book it's like a preview. It's like, when a monster is under the bed, you don't see it, but there's monster under the bed. That's what's happening with D-Book. Everything you saw was him being his monster under the bed. Now he's about to come out. And it's about to be a Monsters, Inc. He's about to take over the whole league. That's what he's about to do at some point. I'm telling you. He's He's not even close to his prime. Prime is normally 27 to 31, kind of. And it's even extended now because ability, and it's a more ability era. So your prime is even like the 35-ish. You got an 8-year prime now. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh. D-Book is 24, fam. He's 24, fam. Tatum is 20. Like, these men are pinch. And I'm telling you, man, primes are now going to be pushed from like 25. Like, even Giannis is not even in his prime, fam. 26. Like, come on now. He's just entering it. Bruh, it's an you're going to see a whole new elevation from a lot of these other guys from the league. The mold that we know of who the greatest and the superstar in the top 5 are, you're going to start seeing it change. You're going to start seeing it change real soon. If not, it's probably as already. You know what I'm saying? So you got to appreciate that at the end of the day. I'm happy for Giannis. Obviously, again, I wanted D-Book and I wanted Chris Paul to get his ring, especially Chris Paul. D-Book, I like that he's on the scene. This was, honestly, as much as it wasn't like, oh my God, we didn't like this playoffs. Guys were injured. There's a lot of great that came out of this playoffs. A lot of great that came out of it. I'm not going to go to the point of, oh my God, this is a point you can win with a super team. I'm not going to go to that because, again, the super teams were injured. So it's like, dog, when they're back the next year, are you going to remember the one ring that, you know what I mean? You have to, time will tell. Don't just get emotional in this moment and just over exaggerate certain things that's happening, right? Obviously, Giannis won a ring and did what he did, but at the end of the day, you got to understand that it came down to Katie's toe being on the line. It did. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, will we have the same conversation? I'm not going to go down that route because, again, you don't want to diminish and discredit someone's ring, which I don't do. I'm just, these other narratives, they make it, you know, you're seeing a lot of media pages do that today. You know what I mean? Immediate media outlets do that whole, oh my God, this is the super team and da-da-da-da. This tells you that, you know, it's great for the league. No more super teams, no more. They're going to stop. You don't need a super team to win. Cancel that shit. Da-da-da. I'm not even going to get into that conversation because that's cap. That's not the truth. It's not the truth. Because even though Giannis's team, like I said, isn't a super team, it's a lower tier version of a super team in terms of the blueprint. It's a big three in its own right. It's a big three in its own right. It's not like it's far removed. It's not like it's a dynamic duo on everybody else. No, it's not. You have Brook Lopez was once an all-star in his own right. That's similar to like the Blake Griffin. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, like these, you know, you can't, you got to think more. You got to be have context and apply the game deeper than just these basic level talks. But I'm not going to get into that. I know this is a long video. I know I've been missed for a little bit. I've been busy. I apologize, y'all. Stuff been going on. But, you know, at the end of the day, when it's time, it's time. And I just appreciate y'all. You know, at the end of the day, appreciate y'all for supporting your boy. You know, again, at the end of the day, spread the word. Share, like, and subscribe. Kick that notification bell so you know when I'm here. Because I'm here. You feel me? I appreciate y'all. Keep supporting. Keep subscribing. Share, like, do all of that. Obviously, Team USA is the next route. We got the draft, which is also the next route. We got trade, free agency, all these things. Like, we're going to get into a frenzy. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss, a lot of things, hypotheticals, all these type of things to get into. This is where now, you know, a lot of the fans that love narratives and love, this is when they come out to play, right? That love the stories, right? Storylines get brought out right now. But again, D-Book going straight to USA. Chris Middleton going straight to USA. Drew Holiday going straight to USA, and they're going to be on the plane together, and they're going to bond because they're going to be like, yo, I rate you. They're going to like, it's going to be a bonding moment for them. People are going to think it's going to be awkward. No, they're going to bond. They're going to be like, yo, it was tough guarding you. Yo, I rate your defense. Like, they're going to talk about, they're going to teach about things. They're going to learn from each other. They're going to compare notes type of thing. And they're going to be like, yo, when you did that, I was like, God damn. Like, that's what's going to be on the plane. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, come on now. A real recognized real. That's what the plane's going to be about. But they're going to go to Team USA. And Team USA, they start July 25th. And, you know, obviously, they're going to start this weekend. And it's going to be a show, obviously, as well, too. So we're going to break those down, hopefully, and get into a lot of it. So you already know. I appreciate y'all, man. It's True Talks. Because True Talks, again, we out here. There's no doubt here. There's no drought here. You feel me? I appreciate y'all, man. You already know. And I'm out, man.